one of the neat things we had the opportunity of doing while we were in the MTC in Spain is every Saturday they would take everyone that was in the MTC and they would make random companionships. And so you might be with someone who only spoke Russian or someone who only spoke Italian or whatever language. And then to make that worse, they would put you on the metro, the subway, and then send you to this big park called Retiro. It's like the main park in Madrid. And they send you out to contact and to try and place flyers and books of Mormon and stuff. And so it was always kind of interesting because, like I said, I didn't speak Spanish. And then the one time that was actually the most memorable, I was matched up with an Italian. And so we're sitting there trying to piece together whatever we could, and we get to the park. And I remember the first lady we contacted was a German lady, and she kind of spoke English and she kind of spoke Spanish, and she didn't know any Italian. So it ended up just kind of being the other that was with me saying a couple of things in Spanish, and then me trying to speak with her in English and Spanish as well. And we ended up sitting down, and we were only in the park for an hour at a time. And I remember we sat down and we started talking with her, and she had a lot of good questions, and we were kind of brave enough. We started a lesson with her actually on the bench, and we started to teach her the restoration. And I remember we did as good as we could to get through the lesson. We helped her to understand, and at the end of the lesson I was like trying to invite her to do things, and she wasn't really accepting the invitations, and I was like, well, could we at least leave you with this, with the Book of Mormon? She was like, no. She's like, I'm traveling, I don't have space. And I was like, well, you could at least take this flyer, the restoration pamphlet. And she's like, no, that's okay, I really don't want it. And so we just tried at the end to leave her with a pass-along card. And in the end, she really didn't want anything to do with our pass-along card as well. And so we just let her go, and I was pretty discouraged about it all because I thought we had done a good job, and I personally thought we'd felt the Spirit with her and stuff, and I kind of felt like we had failed. And I was trying to say that to my companion, like, oh, I feel like we wasted our time. And it was really powerful because we couldn't really understand each other. But I remember him telling me specifically, he was like, well, that's what our job is. He's like, we've done what we're supposed to. And he's like, she was there and she felt the Spirit. And he's like, that's why we're here, and was to share that message. And we did as good as we could. And you can't always expect to have success or a great miracle on your first try. But that was a really powerful message to me that he spoke to me in a broken, different language. But that was something I remembered through my whole mission, was just, even if you don't succeed, if you're doing what you're supposed to, then that's the important thing.